Any moment now, dozens of men, women, and children will come through the doors of Trinity Anglican Church in Aurora to share a meal together. It's Wednesday, and as per custom, once a week, those who are less fortunate and cannot afford the necessities of life come together to share in a meal as part of the outreach services offered by Welcoming Arms, an ecumenical service project and organization in Aurora, Ontario. On Wednesdays in particular, the organization hosts what's known as Welcome Table, a community dinner that provides a safe space together with food and fellowship. Deacon Pat Colangelo is a permanent deacon assigned to Our Lady of Grace Parish in Aurora. Since his ordination, he's been coming faithfully to this unique ecumenical project and has given of his time, energy, and spiritual support to those who volunteer and those who come seeking help and assistance.
The more we give, the more benefits we get. And one of the beauties, because it's a multi-faith community and we all work so well along together. And it's something that is really, it's unique for me because, we learn from each other, we'll be able to share ideas from each other, and it's something that we really doing, not as a group, but as a large family.
Welcoming Arms was founded by both Bishop Philip Poole of the Anglican Diocese of Toronto and Father Don McLean, a retired Catholic priest of the Archdiocese. Both of them served their respective faith communities in Aurora in the 90s and identified a need for local Christian churches to come together and serve the less fortunate. Bishop Poole and Father McLean sat down recently and recounted their days in Aurora and how Welcoming Arms first started.
The town of Aurora had, as many communities, a group of folks who were economically challenged, but not visible. And we knew that because they would come to our door. And along Yonge Street corridor, we would have a number of transients, almost all men, who would come and visit the different churches. And we would have people that we knew in need in the community. And each of the churches were doing their own thing and had benevolence funds and so on. And so we began to ask the question, can we do something together? And one of the things we were realizing is that some people would go from one church to another church to another church to another church, sort of every week to gain some help. And anyway, one thing led to another. And I spoke to Father Don. I said, how about if we try to get the ministerial together to see whether there's interest in sort of combining the respective benevolence funds, for one better way of saying that. And Don very, very wisely said, why don't we invite the clergy and a leader from each of the churches and have a conversation about this. One thing led to another. He hosted a really good event. People still talk about it. And they drew people together with a good sense of Christian hospitality, and we began then to look at ways we could coordinate some of the work.
Many people, like Connie Rustad in particular, have remarked about receiving great hope and joy in meeting other people when she was caught in a moment of despair.
I get a sense of belonging. Not only do they meet my needs of a delicious meal, top notch, but just a sense of family. And the reason I say hope too is I think it was about 2010, our family went through a hard time. We farm and the crops didn't come through. And it was just a nice time to experience being together with other people when my husband had to go out and work, but he still goes out. So I get very lonely plus sad. So I found it very encouraging to be able to come here and be assisted in a delicious meal.
Welcoming Arms not only manages the Welcome Table, but they also host a program called Bridging the Gap as well as Martha's Table. With Bridging the Gap in particular, visitors on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays have access to toiletries, York Region transit tickets, grocery gift cards, and referrals to community agencies, amongst many other things. upwards of 40 volunteers helped to serve 116 adults as well as 86 children. Clients like Mark Sussman are beyond grateful for the open door that Bridging the Gap, under the Welcoming Arms umbrella, has provided.
To be honest, I've actually been through a lot of things that the ministry and members that I'm close to in the ministry have seen me go through with personal struggles, and they've been more supportive than I could have ever imagined or expected, and both before, during, and after those struggles, and they're still receiving me with open arms, which is more than many people would do in the circumstances that they've seen me go through. So it's quite, I'm very grateful for it. And they say at the community dinner, which is where I go sometimes before I come to Welcoming Arms on Wednesday nights, that when you come through the door, you're loved, and I believe that 100%.